Morning, Totne. You're on the air. How are you doing this fine Thursday morning?
Pretty good. I'm excited.
Pretty excited? What are you excited about?
I don't know about life.
About life? Tell me more.
I think our generation is really important. If we really want to change how things are done or the old way, I think our generation is the best time right now to change it.
How would you change it? How are you going to be a part of the change?
Everything from like education system, it's really bad in multiple countries. Even in US, I hate the education system in US. Georgia, it's really horrible. What do you think of education system here?
I think it's pay to play. That not necessarily public schools are, good enough. And then if you want to have your kids get ahead, you have to, pay college tuition to send them to a private school. And if you can't afford the private school, then they don't have the same odds.
Yeah. So don't you think a great person could come out of like a lot of great people like Oprah came out of like really poor families. So not everybody is allowed to have that education. Even if they're talented, in this country it's hard. It's hard if your parents can provide you like to go to a good university. You can't, basically. That's how it is here, right?
Well, I mean, college is a completely different story, but if you're talking about
all education.
If you're talking about issues with education, I just think that it's parents want their kids to have the best odds of becoming successful. So if they can afford it, they'll pay more to have their children have a better education. I'm not saying it's right, or it is what it is. Kind of how it's set up here.
Doesn't it? You think it should be equal though? Everybody, I think, deserves the same quality of education. There shouldn't be, you have money, so you shouldn't be educated. I think that's a big problem.
Everybody has the right to be educated. Everybody has the right to learn to read.
Definitely. That's what kind of changed the civilization. We got better as we got smarter. And I think that's a big part. It's becoming a business at this point more than, I want to have great country.
What do you mean becoming a business?
It's
always been a business.
It's a huge business.
Religion's always been a business. Education's always been a business.
Yes, but it shouldn't be. Not always. There was most of the time like scholars, and back in the day it was more like, how much can we learn? There was philosophers teaching everybody. So it was more open. Education was more open. They were trying to educate as much people as they can.
Oh yeah, you have the Socratic method where everybody sits in a circle. It's not like a teacher in the front of the class. It's like a discussion rather than a lecture.
So the stronger the education is, I think the stronger the country gets, because there's more development, there's more inventions, and that's how Europe became so powerful, because they were so educated and they could do way more technology than others could, and they kind of jumped ahead.
Well, I mean, I know that
than others.
Well, during the Dark Ages, I know almost all reading and writing was lost, and it was what was it? It was preserved by the church. I think they the priests kept the Bible or whatever, and they still had the ability to write and read. And then while the Black Plague was going around, pretty much killing everybody, what was it? A third of the population died or something.
Yeah.
So I guess starting from that point, since Europe, I guess, still held on to the ability to write and read, they had the education, and then over the next few hundred years, I guess that's why maybe they were ahead of everybody. But I'm not a historian, so I'm not. Yeah. I could be wrong, but that's what I've come to think.
Definitely. It's one of the most important things, and a lot of countries get it right. I think one country that gets it right more than a lot of others is Germany.
Germany, why?
Their education system is so organized. So you go to high school, and then you graduate high school basically, and then you could choose to go to higher education like university or college, or you could become like a specialist. I don't know the German names for them, because they're hard.
But German sounding syllables.
You basically pick like an industry, like a specialty you want to get into, and you become like a specialty, and they train you, and after specialty is over, you get some kind of interview. Then you could go into like a specialty and start working. Maybe so. But higher education, like university and colleges, they have, of course, better opportunities. Like they could go in harder, like higher paid jobs.
Well, that would work to say in a country like Georgia, which has
Yeah.
3 million people and everybody is like-minded, then yeah, in that situation, if everybody's on board, I think that could work very well. The United States, on the other hand, I don't think so.
I think
Too
New York,
many different...
New York, it could work.
Well, anything could work in New York.
Why they don't start with one of the richest states and see if it works?
I mean-
like test it out.
Having friends grow up in the 5 boroughs, the common thing between all of my friends is that they never went to high school. Apparently they went to 3rd period, checked in, and then that was it. None of them have driver's licenses. They never had to. None of them know how to swim, and they all have city jobs. So I think it's a certain type of demographic in New York, or maybe it's just like who I'm
Yeah.
around, but I've noticed
No.
that as kind of a common...
But that's
occurrence.
because of the system. It doesn't really provide. It doesn't guarantee you anything. I think if somebody came to you and told you like, oh, you're guaranteed to have something if you do this, I think you're more likely to go for that goal than it's all up in the air.
I do like guarantees.
Yeah, it's all up in the air. Basically, in US, it's like you graduate. You could decide to go to college or not. If you don't want to pay that money, we don't care, and good luck. It's over.
What do you think about universal basic income?
Basic. What do you mean universal basic?
Like say that everybody gets a certain stipend to live off of. Say it's $35,000, $40,000 a year, and everybody gets that, so nobody's gonna starve, and everybody has a roof over their head. And then you have the ability to say if you want to pursue more education, or you work harder, or you start your own business, then you can make more money on top of that. But at least the baseline for everybody is covered.
That's kind of like minimum wage, or
No, universal basic income. You get a check every week for say $1,500.
Switzerland wants to do that.
Yeah. Well,
But-
what about in Georgia? Do you think that would work?
I think you have to be certain level. I think you have to be like Switzerland level of developed country where everything you reached all the way to the top. You have big problems. You have issues, and you're thinking of more of how we could develop more and how we get people's like because a lot of people have passions that they cannot pursue. That was the whole point in Switzerland, where they were like, "Oh, these people are working, but that's not what they want to do. So let's give them like security." That's what you're talking about too, security, right?
Yeah. So nobody starves and everybody has a roof over their head.
Yeah, they give them security and they could chase their dreams. And usually when people are passionate about something, they become good at it. And they try more. And they could bring something good. Like you could be like a next biggest musician or a new great artist that came. So that was the
Totenay started his own political party and having his own podcast.
well, yeah. Everybody. I mean, I'm passionate about politics. I'm passionate about Georgia. Like everybody knows, I'm passionate about Georgia.
Oh yes.
Talk about like 24 hours.
That's all you talk about. Whether I'm listening or not, you just talk at me.
I know it's but because I'm just sad that it's such a great culture and country and it's so undervalued in the world, and also are treated really bad by our enemies. So it's just
Well,
a
isn't that the
sad-
definition of an enemy? Or isn't that what you're supposed to be treated well by your enemies?
No, it's really bad. But you could have an enemy that you have a chance to defeat. But if you have an enemy that you know you can't defeat, it's a lot harder. So it's not much you could do. You're basically like, it's like bullying. You know, there's like a big guy, you're small, and they just keep pushing you down. It doesn't matter. You get up, maybe you buy a scooter, he breaks your scooter. Like, you try to go somewhere, but you can't because he's always pushing you down.
Well, if you figure out a way to fix Georgia's economy and make it a prospering country, then, if it
That's
becomes
the
one of the
best
trade
way.
capitals of the world, then I don't think you're going to have any issues like that.
Yeah, that's the best way. If you integrate Georgia into global economy, I think you'll have friends that could help you out in a matter when you're down.
Mhm.
I think that makes so if you're in global economy as Georgia and you're small, if you have friends that could help you out and stand by you, I don't think people be less likely to pick on you, basically.
Okay, so the key to global economics is the high school lunchroom.
That's a simple way of putting it, because everybody could relate getting bullied in school, because kids are crazy.
Kids are crazy. Teenagers are monsters.
I know. But when we and it's also in US, there's big debt too when it comes to school.
That is, like I said, it's a business.
It's a business, but imagine you graduate and then you're what, like, let's say 23, maybe 22, depends what you do. And you have debt that's like $60,000 to $200,000 debt.
Mm-hmm.
And what? No experience, right?
Well, you have a piece of paper that says that you went to school and you know how to do all of these things.
Do you think these days they care about... I feel like they don't even care about that anymore. So
I think college has become the new high school.
Yeah.
If you said that 30 years ago, it would have been like, you know, you make sure you get your high school degree, you graduate high school, you're going to be able to figure out a job, whether it's working with your hands or a trade. Or if you just get your foot in the door with some company, like you're going to be able to kind of, you know, but through hard effort and work, you can work your way up to the top. Now it seems that it's like college is the new high school. Like nobody will look at you if you didn't go to college. Now your master's is your new college. Then it's not, then all of a sudden you get your degree and it's not necessarily what you know, it's who you know. Or who's your alumni, or who else graduated from the college. Well, how high does your college rank? Is it an Ivy League? I mean, like, you know, Ivy League will help Ivy League. That kind of, you know.
It just supports more and more debt, basically.
Well,
that's where it's going.
Yeah, if you don't own a college, you would want the government to make it be like very easy for your students to get loans so they could afford your $65,000 tuition. If that's your college, you'd be like, absolutely, make it easier for them to come, bring it on.
So how would you be successful being all that debt? Like me, I pay so much debt right now. Every month I pay like $500 just for school.
And how many years will it take you to pay it off? 30?
Yeah, it would take me a long time. I have like thousands of dollars left to pay off my college education. And nobody really cared. Like when you go into interview, they look at your experience more. So let's say if you're 18, do not go to college and started working in the field that you think you're going to end up 10 years later, and got great experiences, got promoted like 2 or 3 times, I think they will go a lot further than showing up at an interview with a college degree at that point.
Yes, but remember, most people who are doing the interview process aren't very bright. Remember, middle management is one of the worst things that there is. It's terrible. They can kill morale, and then next thing you know,
exactly.
You can have somebody who's been working in a company for 5 years, and you know they've slowly been coming up the ranks as like bottom level. Say hotel bellman. So you have bellman. He's now become moves from the door, then he moves to reservations. Now he's making reservations for the hotel. He's good at that. So now they move him to the front desk, and he's working there. He's been there for 5 years. Now there's somebody who just graduated college, and they have a diploma. They all of a sudden have an assistant manager position open. The kid's been working, busting his balls for 5 years. Next thing you know, they give it to this person who has a degree because they don't know better, and they pay them less money than they're deserved for the position, and they work even harder because they just came out of college and they're just trying to take on the world.
Would you see that a lot though? I think that person had a college degree and knew somebody.
Yes, but it's the fact that also the person who just graduated college is naive. They're only getting paid $40,000 when the position is supposed to be getting paid $65,000. But they're grateful for the $40,000, and now the person who's kind of been working for 5 years, very, very hard. He knows it's supposed to be $65,000, and he wanted the $65,000, but now they're going to give it to the person who just graduated college at 22, who's super gung ho and going to save the world. It's
Yeah. So
it's cockeyed. It's just
that's how crazy the system is. There's there's crazy loops, and there's no right path.
Yeah.
That you could tell to like children. So when we talked about Germany, when you look at that, don't you think that would be like a great way to switch? Because looking at that, you see path, like let's say a bellman, right? When you graduate high school, then like I always want to be a hotel and hotel industry. This the person would think, and like let me go into specialty of hospitality. And you'll be trained in hotels and in hospitality. End of your training, you will get an interview of the hospitality. And then you will work. And then maybe if you want to grow and grow, there's like a limit. Then you need a degree to be in this position. Then you can start doing school for that position, graduate, go into that position, and then keep growing. I think that's such a smoother transition it could be than what it is right now. You explain what it is right now, and it's all over the place.
Yeah. But you do that, you also, you're taking all of the fun out of going away to a 4-year school of college, and, enjoying and experiencing life.
You can
and
experience it.
You're an adult now, and it's like, it's your responsibilities to get your ass to class, and it's like, you're having your first relationships, and it's like, I think there's also a healthy social aspect to doing that. I think that maybe if you just go straight into the workforce necessarily and, do the college later, you'll obviously be better in school, but...
No, it's your choice. You could go straight into college, but it's your choice.
Mm-hmm.
When you graduate, you gonna have a bigger field, but it's gonna be true. It's gonna be a real interview after.
What if you don't want to go to college?
Then you could pick specialty.
What if you don't want to pick a specialty?
Then you don't want to do anything with your life. So
no, you want to do it. You just want to work, but you don't want to go to school.
Well,
school's not your thing. You're not good at it.
But you gotta have some kind of education in a field you want to be, right?
Well, tactile kinesthetic learner. I learn with my hands. They want to learn on the field. They don't want to learn in the classroom.
Well, you need to have a knowledge of what you're doing.
Yeah.
It's no matter what. Like if you're learning it's same thing. Your specialty would be like if you're learning, you're gonna learn on the field anyway. So learning, it's like same thing. It's like working basically for what you want to do in the industry.
I'm just saying if there's somebody who doesn't want to go to school or can't go to school in your perfect system, they should still be able to have an opportunity to rise. Of course, they're gonna.
But there's a perfect system. Why would you go out of the system? That doesn't make sense.
Because they're not good at school.
So that's another thing. In Georgia, they eliminated taking finals. What do you think about that?
I think it's great.
But how would you test the knowledge of the students?
How are they educated?
How would you find out without a test? If the education was right and teachers did a good job educating the students. That's what tests are for. I agree.
Tests, some people are good at tests. Some people are bad at tests.
Yeah,
some people are incredible at retaining information. Then all of a sudden, if you put them and you say that they have to regurgitate it in an exact certain way in a written form and answer bulleted questions, no, not everybody's good at that. You can't mark intelligence.
I agree.
Just by that.
I'm not
That's
good
crazy.
at tests. I'm not good.
Yeah.
But there has to be a way.
Yeah.
Where you test the knowledge. What do you think of not having the final, but not being worth so much points?
The professor or the educator should be trusted enough in their field to be able to evaluate the student over the entire process of them being in the classroom. It shouldn't be valued on just one final exam.
There's another thing of corruption. Can I pay the professor? Be like, oh, give me a good grade.
Of course, this is America. Pay to play.
That brings corruption into the system.
Yeah, the human race is corrupted.
Yeah, but corruption never brings any government that's most corrupt governments are the worst governments. The least corrupt governments are the best governments.
What about here in New York? Every time one of the politicians, or say like the mayor, you'll hear his representative just got in trouble bribing people in like the projects, and then he'll come on and be like, "Oh, we do our best to try and find all of the bad eggs in our team, but we can't find them all." It's like you just deflect, divert. Like, come on, what is that?
But do you think that's right? That's what I'm saying. The next generation, we could change that. That was the wrong way of doing things. Let's do it right. Mm-hmm. Let's do it right way. Don't you think there should be a next step into this field because it's been done wrong way all this time?
Listen, I'm all for anything always. So yeah, let's see what happens. Let's change it up.
What do you think?
Let's change it. Jam it up a little bit.
Yeah, definitely. It needs to be changed. In this country and Georgia, I think both education systems are really messed up. Mm-hmm. So both of them needs attention. More of Georgia needs to get to this point, and America needs to get to the next point. So that's like the levels.